what they're telling us. He's nice and cold in there. He says go.
All right, I'm ready. Okay. Well, welcome to the July 8th meeting of the Town of Standish Planning Board. The meeting will now come to order. This is a public proceeding, and unless the board specifically votes to go into executive session, you have the right to hear everything that is being said and to look at all exhibits that are offered. Please notify me if you are unable to hear or see the material. The board works from a prepared agenda this evening. We'll have the approval of the May 6th meeting. Last month, we did not have a meeting. We'll have election of officers. We have two finding of facts to approve. There are no items of old business, and we have one new business item for shoreland rebuild on Sebago Lake. And the second item that was on our agenda on Bonnie Eagle Pond has been withdrawn. The applicant has the burden to prove to the board that their application is complete and meets all applicable town standards. Any person wishing to address the board may do so in accordance with the following procedures. Please utilize the podium or one of the provided microphones. The board will open the public hearing for the applicant to present their project. The town planner will provide his assessment of the project and hear responses from the applicant. Board members will then ask questions and hear responses. The hearing will be open to the public for comment, and the applicant can respond to those comments. The board may receive any oral or documentary evidence, but such evidence is restricted to the subject matter of the agenda item. The board shall exclude irrelevant, immaterial, or unduly repetitious evidence. Citizens shall refrain from interrupting other speakers. This meeting is being tape recorded, and it's very difficult to hear what is being said when multiple people speak at the same time. Citizens shall avoid personal attacks and conduct themselves in a civil, courteous manner as expected by all participants. All questions should be addressed through the chair. Speakers shall not attempt to engage in debate with other meeting participants. Upon hearing from the public, the hearing will be closed for the application, and the board will deliberate and vote on the application. Following the decision on the application, either towards the end of the meeting or at the board's next regular meeting, the board will prepare a written finding of facts and approve them for the record. Again, welcome. This evening we have one new member, Todd Delaney. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Andrew Walton is not with us this evening, but he was re-elected, so he'll be joining the board for another 3 years. We have 5 members, 2, 3, 4, 5 members here, so we have a quorum. All right, the first item on our agenda is the May 6th meeting minutes. A lot of information here. And the one thing that I will take note of, and I forgot to do this with not having a meeting last month, is the letter that was going to be drafted to the council relative to the speed limit on Chadbourne Road, and we'll take care of that. I've already talked with Scott today about it, so he and I will collaborate on that. Anything from any other board members?
No, not me.
Not me either, no.
Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Very good, thank you. All right, our next item on the agenda is election of officers.
I would like to nominate Mr. Brown as chairman.
Second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded to nominate me as chair. Further discussion? Any further nominations?
Not for me.
Seeing none, all those in favor? Four, and I think I have to abstain for myself. Motion for vice chair. Move to nominate Frank as vice chair.
I'll second it. Sorry, Jackie.
Discussion by the board? Seeing none? All those in favor? 4 and 1. Very good, thank you. All right, we have 2 finding of facts. First one is for 40 North East Road, main optometry. And the second one is for Levitt Thompson LLC, which was the updated plan for the Phase 1 of the condominiums, which had to be recorded with the limited common elements, all the particulars. You can either do these individually, or last time we did them as a group.
I move we do it as a group.
Okay? Is that a motion to approve both?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion by the board?
None.
Seeing none, all those in favor? Very good. Take me just a second to sign these.
Mr. Chairman, one comment. I know when we were looking at main optometry, and we were wondering about a buffer for the parking lot. I'm all for supporting it, we just voted on that. But we pulled up like an aerial view to take a look at the screening. And from the phone, you know, it looks like there's just a tremendous buffer there. When you actually drive by, there's really not as much as one would think by looking at the phone that we saw. So I think that that's not really a good way to proceed in meetings, you know, to take an aerial view from a phone versus actually looking at the site, just as a preferred procedure.
Sidewalk.
Yeah, because that was very misleading between the 2 images.
Point well made. We did get the
Sorry.
updated plan, Scott, is that what I understand, for main optometry with the additional plantings, or they moved the plantings to the front of the building and?
I don't think I've gotten plans from them yet. We got the ones from Patco.
Okay.
I did send something to JP today.
Oh, okay, today. Then I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Very good. All right. First item of new business, Paul and Jenny Franceschi, right? 31 Ward Cove Road, map 50, lot 21, shoreline zoning, to remove existing cottage and build a new one. We did have a site walk just prior to this meeting, and all the members that are here were there. You on, Don?
My Vice President Dana present. I'm Don Nichols from Don Nichols Building Contractor. I'll be doing the general contracting, or we'll be doing the general contracting for Paul and Jenny. As you see in the packet, it is as complete as it can be complete. This was actually done by the homeowner, Jenny, and if we get too deep into the weeds, I might have to bring her up to back up all the information, but it is very professionally done and complete. As we see in the site walk, it's a totally non-conforming lot. We're not changing the footprint of the building a bit. We're going up to the 20 feet when we get back behind the 25. We've eliminated some of the stuff that's within the 25 feet, like we discussed, the propane tank, a well cover, bulkhead, and so forth. So, and that information's all in front of you. So, you know, we're here to answer questions. Hopefully, we're not gonna get deep enough that we gotta get Jenny up here to support all the information in front of you, but,
Really, to summarize everything, our structure within 25-foot boundary from the water is being reduced by 4.2 square feet, and our structure within 75 feet of the water is reduced by 1.3 square feet. Total impervious lot coverage is going to remain about 41%. That's going to essentially remain unchanged. Again, like Don mentioned, as we saw on the site walkthrough today, we're going to be doing that in terms of eliminating structure by various elements like the concrete well cover, which will be replaced with a drilled well, concrete walkways in the front, a bulkhead, entry stairs, some concrete in the entry to the garage, so on and so forth, as outlined in the packet. I believe it was on page 28. Shows the removal as well as any new items. And then on page 10, another beneficial markup of the boundary survey, orange area representing the existing structure within the 25-foot setback, as well as those noted removed items, the piping concrete, the propane tank, the bulkhead, the concrete well cover, et cetera, concrete in front of the garage, so on and so forth, so.
I have a question.
yes, Frank.
Can you just elaborate a bit on what is the Maine's longtime building and fences law that says if something is there for 40 years, even though it's non-compliant,
Yeah,
it can
that,
stay that way forever?
yeah, that's an interesting finding. But, you know, we employed Perkins Thompson to, when I first got involved, we realized in looking at the survey that part of the building was not in, you know, technically was in the right-of-way. So another surveyor that I'm very good friends with brought up the fact that if it's been there for more than 40 years, there's standing law to say that it can stay where it is. And that's what the findings of Perkins Thompson came up with, and they've got a couple of case studies that they've done, Kelly versus Jones, and a couple in the footnotes on the back page, Frank. But this was sent to J. Paul and Scott and stuff, and reviewed by the Standish town attorney that agreed with the findings.
So the issue is the closeness towards Cove Road, right? That's the issue.
That is correct. That is it, and it's not the road, it's the actual right-of-way.
Gotcha. Not the, understand.
The building is in the right-of-way. So
Yeah.
it's that portion of the structure that's in the right-of-way, and I believe, if I've read that right, what they're saying is then the boundary line shifts to the facade or the face of the building.
To the face of the building. They had a big case down in Camden, same thing, they were putting in sidewalks, and they've got buildings that are, in an old city like that is way too close to the road. And it goes back to that same law.
Okay, just,
Quite unique.
yeah. I'd never heard of it before, but I probably wouldn't have anyway, but thank you.
Well, it was interesting, when we met with Paul and Jenny the first time, they already had the survey, and I'm going, oh, this is interesting. Lot isn't on the building isn't on the lot. Haven't run into that in 44 years, so.
Scott, would you like to add anything?
It's all pretty straightforward, it's all there. I mean, straightforward's the wrong word, it's quite the constrained lot, it's a lot of complications, building not being on the lot entirely, it's an interesting one, but they put together a very thorough application showing us all the details. I've gone over it, I think they got it all right, and it's all here, it's all complete, and it's all within the ordinance, and I think even better than the letter of the law, it's meeting the intent of the law better than some things we deal with. The only conditions put in the memo are our standard boilerplates about expiration of approvals and things like that, so nothing too exciting.
Just for the public, that wasn't at the site walk, the building is going back in the same exact location, the same footprint.
That is correct.
As I understand it. Board members, questions, thoughts, concerns?
I asked mine at the sidewalk, so I'm okay.
Is that okay? I guess we can open it up to the public then. Anyone from the public like to speak on this? Guess not. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to close the public hearing. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Very good. I'm just glancing through here to see if I had any notes. Be unusual if I don't. Is JP going to require the boundary markers to be in prior to issuing a building permit? So he
You'd have to
can
ask
check it?
JP, yeah.
Well, that was the only thing I noticed, that they're marked as to be set. It's just two, it's on the side that's so close next to the garage.
Right, right. You know, we can have a site walk with JP and do some offsets from the wall and stuff like that to, you know, that's,
Yeah,
we haven't got much wiggle room up there, Charlie.
I know, that's where I was going, is, yeah, how does it, once everything's gone, how do you check it? And
Well,
that's-
it actually,
You're gonna put
the
string lines.
the surveyors have got those points. The surveyor could, and we'll have the surveyor actually plot this back onto the,
Footings or whatever.
back onto the footings when we pour that, because that's,
Great. Take that condition off.
what's that?
I had written it down as a condition, I'll take it off.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, I guess the first thing we need to do, if everybody's of the opinion that the application is complete, we need a motion that we find the application for reconstruction of a legally non-conforming home at 31 Ward Cove Road to be complete.
Mr. Chair, I make such a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and second to deem the application complete. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Very good. And then, just to go down through the shoreline review criteria, will maintain a safe and healthful condition. Basically the same exact footprint. Plan shows the erosion control being in place. I'd say it stays the same. Everybody else?
Does
Basically the
walls
same.
help?
Will not result in water pollution, erosion, or sediment to the surface water. Again, we talked about the erosion control plan, and it shows, I don't know what the sheet number is, but there is one here. It has, I believe it's in green. It's the next to last sheet. Plan sheet. Shows the erosion control method. The shore frontage is basically encased by that beautiful stone wall.
It's quite impervious, I would think.
Yes. C, will adequately provide for disposal of all wastewater. HHE 200 application, and we saw the location of that bid. That's where the existing one is, on the opposite side of the road. Applicants indicated they're gonna put in a new septic tank and pump. Be a whole new system.
I have a question about that. The HHE 200 form waiver says an easement is required. Did you secure an easement? Or can you,
You talking about the overhead power lines that are up there?
I'm not sure what the easement was for.
you can,
Maybe it might have been too close to the other property?
it says disposal field to be located in the same location as existing, in parentheses, off-site, and then easement required. Septic tank to be located in the same location, easement required. Norman Harris.
Would that be due to the tank and the force mains being in the public right away?
Yeah, I'd have to guess that he's referencing that has to cross the roadway to get to this location. And I mean, the town's already approved all the work in the roadway as being a replacement in kind of a grandfathered system. Certainly from my perspective, we don't need a formal signed easement from the town for that at this point.
Obviously, this will be permitted on a separate, this JP, this is outside the 100-foot. The septic system is outside the 100-foot, and this will be permitted by JP. And like we'd mentioned before, Poland Water District is, they are very attentive to this stuff. Let's put it that way, which they should be. So.
I was just curious, as it's on a form from Maine CDC that says it, so
Right.
that's what I was bringing
Well,
up.
and it could be something as simple as a couple of the wells are within 60, one of the wells was,
Yeah, but that's a variance request.
yeah, that's a variance request, you're right, Charlie. I'm not sure what
I would
the-
have to believe it's what Scott noted at as crossing the public way at that point.
Right.
I'll probably,
This is on a separate permit, though. This isn't on this application.
Well, we do get to review wastewater as part of the shoreline zoning,
Right.
and you did submit the form
I would think
that says it.
follow up
That's
with
why I'm
Bud
asking.
Harris to find out what in the world he's talking
Yeah,
about.
I mean, JP still, whether we approve this or not, JP still has to approve this. Like, we are not the local plumbing inspector. We cannot approve that HHG 200. It's there to inform us and make sure that this is possible. And the details of that particular permitting is JP's call. So
Right.
we're,
If an easement needs to be shown on the site plan, though, it would fall under our purview, right?
if we need, I guess, if you want to put a condition that if a formal easement is granted, we need an updated site plan that shows it, then you can do that.
This one needs to be made of record.
Yeah, well, certainly if they get an easement, there's gonna be a plan of that, it's gonna be recorded, like,
Registry.
that would all be done.
So we want to go.
No, I was just
You wanna make it a
curious
condition?
if there was an easement or not, because it was written on the form from the state. That was it, so.
Yeah, the only one I noted that the surveyor brought up was the one on the other side of the road for the power lines across the lot for the other cottages. I think that's on the first one. It's on the second plan. Note 17. Overhead utility lines appear to encroach over the local's parcel. No recorded easement found. Noted.
I feel like it would probably be, it would be an easement from the municipality to the property owners. We're already okay with the structure being within the right-of-way.
I mean, that could be what Bud's talking about too, because there's no width to those easements. Unless it's something that the utility companies have that they never recorded.
I'm not an attorney, but
No.
I just saw the note, and I just was curious about it, but I don't have an issue with it. I just wanted to just clarify it.
Again, this is gonna not be done under the cover of darkness.
I understand.
This will be a permitted septic system, and we'll get a street opening permit and so forth, so.
Okay.
So what's the decision, Charlie?
Well, I don't know that we have an actual decision. We can request that if, be followed up on, and if easement's required, we get copies of,
I mean, if it's an easement under the right-of-way, the town will absolutely, I mean, that's an easement the town grants, so it is one that we will have in writing on paper, and we'll have all copies of that. So, I mean, I think that we can leave that to the specific permitting of the system. I mean, that's where that comes to play.
so if we put a condition of approval that the applicant quantify what has to happen there, and that
Yeah, I
the
mean,
code
we'll follow up
enforcement
with
officer gets the-
JP and make sure that he's doing his job and reading the paperwork that he gets.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah, that's,
So that would be adding a fifth. Let's see what it should say. Applicant to verify the easement request
Scott, when we get a
Show.
street opening permit, is,
on the
They issue the easement at that point?
200
I don't think so.
form
I think I've had one in the past.
with
Again, I'm not the site evaluator. I don't know which easement he's talking about. Normally, we wouldn't need a formal easement.
officer.
You've got the street opening permit, and that's a permitted, yeah.
Any required easements. See if this sounds good. The applicant to verify the easement noted and shown on the HHE 200 form with Bud Harris, and provide the code enforcement officer with any required easements.
Yeah, any required easement. I'm not sure we need one, but if we need one, we'll have one. Yeah.
That's just to address.
If necessary, we'll have an easement.
Take that when you're done.
You've never seen one, have you, Jackie?
What?
Have you seen an easement
No.
for street opening?
Uh-uh,
No, I haven't.
no.
It could be the ones on the power lines he's talking about, too, not knowing the width of them. It could be just a blanket easement.
Right.
Usually the power company won't put up service lines without something.
Right. That was a long time ago, though.
Yeah. It was probably Cumberland County Power and Light at that point.
Exactly. Exactly.
But that's just the verification.
Yep,
All right.
that's fair.
And then moving along, I'll go back. Does that sound all right with everybody on board?
Thank you.
Do not have adverse impact on spawning grounds, fish, aquatic life, bird, or other wildlife habitat. We're not changing anything other than putting a new building on.
Right.
Will conserve the shore cover and visual as well as actual points of access to inland waters. Project is going to be retain its existing condition. No significant vegetation is proposed to be removed.
Nope.
The sole tree within 25 feet out front.
Right.
And a couple of shrubs, foundation
Yeah,
shrubs.
we're gonna add some foundation shrubs, so we're gonna improve that situation.
Will protect archaeological and historic resources as designated in the comprehensive plan. Already dug a foundation there, so we're not changing anything.
You dug it long enough
It's not
ago,
along
Charlie,
the
there
river.
might be.
I wouldn't envision any impact. Will avoid problems associated with floodplain development and use. We talked about floodplain on the site walk. The intent is to keep that floor at least a foot above the floodplain of the lake,
That is correct.
depending on which datum they use.
Exactly.
Is in conformance with the provisions of subsection 23715 land use standards. The proposal is legally non-conforming as covered in our previous discussions. Given the condition of the site, there's minimum room to make any more conforming, make it any more conforming. I think that's true. Any thoughts, board?
I'm all set.
All set. All right. If the board wishes, we can move forward with a proposal. Staff has outlined one on our page 5. Move that the board grant approval under the provisions of the Standish Land Use Code for the application submitted by Paul and Jenny Francisci for removal and replacement of a legally non-conforming home at 31 Ward Cove Road in Standish, having found the application to meet the requirements of subsection 23712, 23715, 23716, and all other applicable sections of the Standish Code of Ordinance with the following conditions. And we got the 4 standard conditions, and then the 5th one that we just added. Would you like me to read them all? Applicant's seen the 4 and has heard the 5th one.
Correct.
All right. Is there anyone that would like to make that motion?
I so move the motion as presented with the addition of number 5.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. And to grant approval. Any further discussion by the board? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Very good.
Are we excused now? Oh, Charlie, I don't have
We
to
can
drive,
make you stay.
I don't have to drive back to Pierce Pond tonight.
Well, that's nice. Well,
Last time I
I
was
wouldn't
here.
mind.
Yeah, exactly, we'd go together.
The fish will still be biting.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. And the last item is the Bishop property on Bonnie Eagle Road, and the applicant had asked us to withdraw the application, I believe. True?
Yep.
I have nothing else. Any other board members have anything? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
I'll second it. Any further discussion by the board members? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Yes.
Do we have any potential